She is standing above the rooftops of Corinth. Below her, the city is silent. The last of the evening light is draining from the sky, that particular shade of deep gold that comes just before dark, when the air itself seems to hold its breath. The stones of the house are warm from the day. The harbour is still. Somewhere below, a man is screaming her name. But up here, where she is, there is only the wind of the sea and the slow turning of the stars beginning to appear, one by one in the east. She is leaving. She has done what she came to do. The dragons at the reins of her chariot are still and patient, their scales catching the last of the light. And she holds the reins loosely, the way you hold something you've carried for a long time and have finally decided to put down. Her name is Medea, and this is her story from the very beginning. Settle in wherever you are. Feel the weight of the day beginning to lift. We're going back a long way, further than cities as you know them, further than roads, to a time when the world was younger and stranger and the gods were closer to the earth, close enough sometimes that you could hear them in the wind off the mountains, in the way the sea changed colour before a storm. There is a place called Colchis. It sits at the far eastern edge of the known world, on the shore of a dark sea, beneath mountains that hold their snow even in summer. Air is thick with the smell of pine resin and cold water. The forests run down almost to the shoreline. At night, the stars over Colchis are extraordinarily bright, the kind of brightness you only get far from the other lights, far from other people, in a place that has been largely left alone by the world. This is where Medea grows up. She is the daughter of Aeetes, the king, and the granddaughter of Helios, the sun god, the one whose chariot crosses the sky each day, and whose light falls equally on everything, the just and the unjust alike. She has her grandfather's quality in her, that impartiality, that brightness that doesn't flatter and doesn't conceal. She sees things as they are. She has always seen things as they are. She is also a sorceress. Not in the way of stories, not cauldrons and cackles and things that go wrong in the night. What she knows is the properties of plants, the way certain roots, boiled in the right sequence, will close a wound that nothing else can close. The way certain flowers, ground fine and mixed with oil, will make a man's skin impervious to fire. The way the world has an interior logic, a deep grammar of cause and effect that most people never learn to read. Medea reads it fluently. She has since she was a child, walking the forests above Colchis alone, learning the names of things. She is someone of considerable power. She is also a woman, a king's daughter, which means she belongs to her father and will one day belong to a husband, and the question of her own preference in the matter is not a question anyone is asking. This is the world. These are the terms. She understands them. Then a ship appears on the horizon. The sea of Colchis is dark and deep. On clear mornings, you can stand on the shore and watch it for a long time. The way the light moves across it in long, slow passages. The way the surface shifts between green and black and something closer to blue. Fishermen know this sea. Traders know it. But the ship coming in from the west is neither a fishing boat nor a merchant vessel. It is the Argo. 50 oars, a hull of timber cut from the sacred pines of Mount Pelion. A crew of heroes, the greatest assembly of remarkable men the Greek world has ever put on a single vessel. At the prow, a figurehead of carved wood, cut from the speaking oak of Dodona. Which is the oracle of Zeus himself, and which can speak prophecy if the winds are right. And at the helm is Jason. He is young, he is beautiful. He has been sent here on an impossible errand by his uncle who wants him dead. He needs the golden fleece. The fleece of a magical ram, golden, hanging in a sacred grove in Colchis, guarded by a dragon that never sleeps. He arrives in the court of King Aeetes and makes his request. Aeetes has no intention of giving anything to this young Greek, with his unusual ship and his easy confidence. But he doesn't say no directly. He sets conditions. Load the fire-breathing bronze bulls and plough the field. Sow the field with dragon's teeth and defeat the army that rises. Take the fleece from the grove, past the dragon that never sleeps. Simple. Jason has no idea how to do any of this. That night, in the palace, Medea sees him across a courtyard. We should talk about what happens when gods involve themselves in human affairs, because it matters here, and it will matter again before this story is done. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, decides that Medea should fall in love with Jason. She sends her son Eros, the one with the arrows, the one whose wounds you can't see until they've already done their work. And Eros finds Medea in the torchlight of the courtyard, and the arrow is loosed, and that is that. It is like being struck by lightning. She does not choose it. It arrives in her and takes up residence, and she is, from that moment, entirely altered. Picture the courtyard at night. The torches burning in their brackets along the walls. The flames moving in the slight breeze coming up from the sea. The smell of wood smoke and salt. the sound of men talking somewhere in another room. And Medea, standing in the shadows, watching this young man she has never spoken to, feeling something she has never felt before. She knows immediately that she is going to help him. She knows what it will cost. She helps him anyway. She goes to him secretly. The palace is still. The corridor to the guest quarters is lit by a single oil lamp, its flame small and steady in the still air. She walks it alone, carrying what she needs. The ointment she has prepared, made from a plant that grew where Prometheus bled, that will make his skin and armour impervious to fire and iron for a single day. She tells him what to do with the dragon's teeth. She tells him how to make the warriors turn on each other. She tells him how to put the dragon in the grove to sleep so he can take the fleece. She does this, knowing full well what she is doing. She is betraying her father. She is choosing a stranger over her own blood. She is committing herself entirely to a man she met yesterday because a goddess decided that she should. And then she asks him to take her with him. He agrees. He makes her a promise. In some tellings, he makes her his wife there and then, under the stars at the edge of the sea. In all of them, he gives his word. Jason gets the fleece. The Argo sails before dawn. Imagine the ship moving through the cold water. The oars pulling in long, slow strokes. The crew silent. The shore of Colchis receding behind them into the dark. The sky above is enormous and full of stars. The sound is the creak of the hull, the pull of the oars, the breathing of 50 men trying to go quietly. Then, behind them, the lights of pursuing ships. Aeetes is coming. His fleet is faster than the Argo. They will be caught. And Medea does the thing that she will carry with her for the rest of her life. Her brother Absyrtus is on the pursuing ship. She sends word to him. Come and meet me. I have something for you. And when he comes, she kills him. She scatters his body in the sea, piece by piece, knowing that her father will have to stop. That a king cannot sail past the remains of his son. The pursuing ship's slow. The Argo pulls away. Medea stands at the stern and watches the dark water close over what she has done. She does not look away. That is the thing about Medea. She never looks away. She does what she does with her eyes open, fully understanding the cost, and she bears the knowledge of it. She gave up her brother for Jason. She knows this. She will always know this. The stars are very bright over the open sea. The Argo sails west. Let your breathing slow a little more. We're moving through time now, the years of the life between. They reach Greece. there are stops along the way, purification rites, more adventures, the long decompression of a journey that has taken everything from everyone on board. But eventually they arrive in the civilized world that Jason comes from. And eventually they settle. Corinth. Picture it as it would have been then. A city on a narrow neck of land between two seas. The kind of position that makes a place wealthy and strategic and perpetually contested. The streets are stone, worn smooth by years of feet. The houses are pale in the sunlight, whitewashed walls, terracotta roof tiles, the smell of bread from the morning baking, and fish from the harbour below. Olive trees on the hillsides, their leaves silver in the afternoon light, moving in the sea breeze with a sound like soft conversation. Medea and Jason live here. They have 2 sons. The boys are dark-haired, quick-eyed. They run in the courtyard in the mornings while the shadows are still long. They know the sound of their mother's voice, the way children know the things that have always been there, as something fundamental, as part of the structure of the world. For a time, this works. Medea is a foreigner in Corinth, which means she has no formal standing of her own. Her status exists entirely through Jason, through his name, his citizenship, his presence beside her. But she is known. The women of the neighbourhood know her. They have seen her children grow. There is a life here of a kind, even at the edges of the world she has made herself. Then Jason meets the king's daughter. Her name is Colchis. She is young. She is Corinthian, which means she is, in the eyes of this world, exactly the right kind of person. Her father is Creon, the king, and a marriage to her would give Jason the one thing he has never quite had in all his years of heroism: a stable, respectable, permanent foundation. A future that doesn't depend on a foreign wife with a complicated past. He tells Medea on a morning like any other morning. The light is coming up from the east, falling across the floor of the house in long pale lines. The city is waking up around them. The sound of carts on the stones outside. A dog somewhere. A distant clang of the harbour. He has his justification ready. He has clearly been working on it for some time. He tells her she should be grateful, that he has brought her to a civilized country, that his new marriage is, if she thinks about it sensibly, actually good for her, good for the children, that he will still provide for her, that she should try to be reasonable about this. Medea listens to all of it. She says very little in response. That night, after the house is quiet, after the children are asleep, she sits in the dark and feels the full weight of what has just happened to her. Not the betrayal. She understood betrayal as a possibility from the beginning. She is too clear-eyed not to have understood it. But the weight of the position she is in. No father to go to, no country to return to, no legal standing, no options. She has given up everything, and the man she gave it up for has just explained to her carefully and with considerable self-satisfaction why that was actually fine. Outside, the city of Corinth goes about its night. The harbour is peaceful. The stars are out over the Aegean. The olive trees on the hillside move in a wind coming off the sea. Medea sits in the dark and thinks. In the morning, Creon comes. He is afraid of her. He says so directly, which is at least honest. He knows what she's capable of. He knows that intelligence combined with power, combined with having nothing left to lose, is a dangerous combination in anyone, and Medea has all three. He has come to exile her, today, her and her children both. Medea does something interesting. She performs. She adopts, with considerable skill, the bearing of a woman who is frightened and small, and simply asking for a little mercy. Just one more day, she says, to make arrangements, to find somewhere to go, to say goodbye, just one more day. Creon, who came here afraid of her, decides that being the kind of king who gives a woman one more day is consistent with being a reasonable man. He agrees. He leaves. Medea watches him go, and then she drops the performance entirely. One day is enough. She knows exactly what she's going to do with it. But first, unexpectedly, a visitor. His name is Aegeus. He is the king of Athens, passing through Corinth on his way back from the oracle at Delphi, where he has been asking about children. He and his wife have none, and he wants to know what to do. He is old friends with Medea, in the way of a world where remarkable people tend to know each other. He hears what Jason has done. He is appalled. She asks him for one thing. If she comes to Athens, will he give her sanctuary? He agrees without hesitation. He makes an oath, sworn properly, witnessed by the gods he believes are listening. And then he continues on his way, not knowing what he has just made possible. Picture him walking away down the road towards the harbour. An older man, a little tired from travelling, thinking about the oracle's words, not looking back. He has no idea what he has just set in motion. He has simply done a decent thing for a person who needed it, that's all. Sometimes that's all it takes. Now Jason comes. The argument between them is long and detailed and completely irresolvable because they are not, in any meaningful sense, arguing about the same thing. Jason is arguing about what's reasonable. Medea is arguing about what's true. These are different conversations, conducted in the same language, producing complete incomprehension on both sides. Jason's version, he's being practical, strategic. The new marriage is not personal. He still has regard for Medea. He will provide for her. She should try to see the larger picture. Medea's version, he is alive because of her, There is no Jason without Medea. No fleece, no reputation, no heroic return, no life. She made him at the cost of everything she had. And now, at the precise moment where she has nothing left to offer and nowhere to go, he is discarding her and calling it good sense. She asks him where would he like her to go. He doesn't answer. He leaves. The door of the house closes behind him. The sound of his footsteps fades on the stones outside, and Medea begins. The plan has a shape. 3 parts, interlocking, each one depending on the others. First, Glauci, the new bride. Medea will send gifts with her children, a robe of extraordinary beauty, a golden crown. She makes them herself with her own hands. The robe is fine woven, the kind of thing that a princess would want to wear on the day of her wedding. The crown is intricate, delicate, catching the light in a way that makes it seem almost to glow. Both are poisoned. Medea knows exactly what she has used. She knows exactly what they will do. Second, Creon. Because Creon is the foundation of it all. And if he remains, there is no safe harbour anywhere. The poison in the robe is made to spread on contact. A father who touches or has touched his daughter will touch the same death. Third. The third part of the plan is the one she comes to last and arrives at slowly and turns over in her mind for a long time before she commits to it. It's the part that the chorus, the women of Corinth, who have been on her side throughout, who understand everything she has suffered. It is the part that makes even them say, "Don't, please don't do this." She is going to kill her children. She tells herself several things. She tells herself that if she leaves them in Corinth, her enemies will have them. She tells herself that a life of exile, stateless, dependent, is not the life she wants for them. But there's a third thing, the thing beneath all the other things, the thing that she is most honest about to herself in the darkness of the house at night. She will not leave Jason with what he loves the most. She will not let him build his careful, strategic, well-arranged new life and have these 2 boys in it. She will not let him win. Morning. The light comes up slowly over Corinth. First a pale thinning of the dark in the east, and then a long grey hour in which the city exists without colour. And then suddenly, as always, the sun and everything becomes itself again. The stones, the sea, the olive trees on the hillside. Medea dresses her sons carefully. She combs their hair. She holds their faces in her hands and looks at them for a long moment. They look back at her with the uncomplicated trust of children who have never had a reason to fear their mother. And she looks at them, and she turns away before they can see her face. She gives them the gifts. She sends them to the palace. They go willingly, happy to be given an errand, carrying the beautiful robe and the golden crown in their small hands. She watches them go. She almost calls them back. She doesn't. The hours that follow are long and tense. There is a particular quality to waiting when you know what you're waiting for. The sounds of the city carry differently. The light seems to move more slowly across the floor. Medea sits and thinks, and somewhere underneath the thinking is a sound like the sea, constant, low, the sound of everything she is about to become. A messenger arrives. He has come from the palace, running. His face is the face of a man who has seen something he will never entirely recover from. He tells her to run. The deed is done. The people of Corinth are coming. She needs to go now. He describes what happened. Colchis put on the robe, the crown. They were beautiful, and she wanted to see herself in them. And for a moment, she was simply a young woman trying on something lovely, turning to see her reflection. And then the poison reached her skin. Creon found his daughter and took her in his arms, and the robe took him too. The messenger finishes. He looks at Medea. He doesn't understand the expression on her face. He leaves. Medea goes inside. After the plan is executed, and before the final act, Euripides does something extraordinary. He slows everything down. He puts us inside Medea's mind in real time as she moves towards what she has decided, and he lets us hear every step of it. She sees her children, their faces, their hands, the way they smile at her. This keeps coming back, this specific thing, the way they smile. She knows the particular quality of their smiles, the way you know only the things you have looked at with complete attention for years, things that have become part of the landscape of your life. She knows them entirely. And she almost stops. She goes back and forth, not once, but many times, and Euripides writes it all. She decides she cannot do it. Then she decides she must. Then she holds their hands and decides she cannot. Then she thinks about Jason and his careful, strategic future and decides she must. She moves through this in real time, slowly, completely visible. She knows what she is about to do is evil. She uses the word. She knows it is evil. But she says her rage, her passion, the hot part of herself is stronger than her reasoning mind. She is not mad. She is not a monster. She is a person watching herself from the outside with terrible clarity, and she cannot stop what's already in motion. Outside, the city goes about the middle of its day. Somewhere on the hillside, the olive trees are silver in the afternoon light. The sea is very blue. The sky is that deep blue that belongs specifically to the Aegean on a clear afternoon, the kind of blue that seems to go on forever, that makes the world look permanent and indifferent and beautiful. Inside the house, Medea makes her decision for the last time. The chorus stands outside. They can hear what is happening. They talk about whether to intervene. They cannot agree on whether they have the right. They stand in the street in the afternoon light, and they listen and they cannot move. There are voices from inside, the children's voices calling to each other, calling for help. Then silence. And now we are back where we began. The last light of evening is in the sky over Corinth, that deep gold before the dark. The stones of the houses warm from the day, the harbour still, the stars beginning one by one in the east. Medea is above the rooftops. Below her, Jason is standing in the street. He came here running. He heard what happened at the palace. He came for his children. Too late. He knows it. He stands below her, and his grief is the grief of a man who has had everything taken from him, and is only now understanding what everything meant. He asks of the bodies. He wants to bury his sons. He says, "Give me this at least. Let me grieve properly. Give me something." She says no. She is taking them with her. She is going to Athens. He calls her a lioness, a monster. He reaches for every word that might put her outside of the category of human, because if she is outside that category, then what has happened has an explanation that doesn't require him to think too carefully about his own part in it. She doesn't argue with the words. She may even, in some part of herself, accept them. She looks at him for a long moment from above. Below, Jason, his life in ruins, the city of Corinth behind him, the harbour, the two seas catching the last of the light. Above, Medea, her grandfather's quality in her, that light that doesn't flatter, but sees things as they are. She sees everything clearly. She always has. The dragons at the reins are patient. The evening wind moves her hair, and then she goes. Let the image of Corinth fade slowly. The warm stones, the still harbour, the last of the gold in the sky. Let it become something calmer. The sea at night, perhaps. The Aegean in the dark, which is immense and old and does not concern itself with the things that happen on its shores. The water is very dark. On the surface, in places where the stars catch it, there are small points of light, here and here and here, each one a reflection of something burning very far away. It's a very old story, older than the city of Corinth, which no longer stands as it stood. Older than the language it was written in, which nobody speaks in the streets anymore. It has been carried forward through time by the simple fact that every generation that reads it finds something inside it that they weren't expecting to find. Some recognition, some discomfort, some understanding of what happens when a person is pushed to the far edge of everything and has only one kind of power left. It was booed at its first performance. It has never stopped being performed since. Somewhere in the dark, the dragons are flying east. The city is behind them. The sea opens out below, wide and dark and starred. Medea holds the reins loosely, the way you hold something you've carried for a very long time. She is going to Athens. She has somewhere to be. Let that image carry you now. Not the grief of it, not the weight, but simply the image itself. The dark sea, the stars, the long slow passage east through the night sky. The world very far below, going about its ancient business. Breathe out. The stars are very bright over the open water. Let yourself go. Thanks for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe to the Literary Buffet for the 5-minute summary and 20-minute deep dive version of Euripides Medea and 45-minute sleep stories of other classic literary tales.